You are listening to The Vocal Technologist. Spoken tech for your ears.
If you notice this lately, it feels like every single interaction we have with technology is being pulled in two totally opposite directions.
Oh, absolutely.
On one hand, you've got this relentless push for everything to be automated, AI-driven. And on the other, there's this real craving for things that are slow and tactile and intentional.
Right. There's no middle ground anymore. It's either hyper efficient or deeply human.
Exactly. So welcome back to what we like to call Product Thursdays. We've gathered some incredible material this week, and our whole mission is to explore that exact fault line. We're asking what happens to the human designer when a machine can, suddenly do 90% of the work.
And that tension is really the core of what we're looking at here. It's this high-speed race toward AI efficiency, smashing right into a rediscovered love for design that's tangible, that's not generic.
So where do we start?
Well, our discussion is going to follow two main tracks. First, the big structural changes between AI and the design process itself. And second, some really critical shifts we're seeing in interfaces, both, digital and physical. It helps map out where the real value is now.
Okay, let's unpack this then. Starting right in the deep end, on the software side, we're already moving so far beyond simple chat boxes.
Light years beyond.
We're talking about truly dynamic systems that can, generate an entire user interface on the fly.
That leads us straight to Google's A2UI, which stands for Agent to User Interface. And what's important here is that it's not just a new feature, it's an open source spec. It's meant to change how AI agents deliver experiences at a fundamental level.
Okay, an open source spec sounds a little academic. How is this different from just a normal API that sends data back and forth?
It all comes down to separating the command from the delivery. The key technical bit is that the AI agent sends declarative UI descriptions.
Declarative UI descriptions.
Right. It doesn't send the actual executable code. Think of it like this. Executable code is like having a fully pre-made meal delivered to your app.
Okay.
A declarative UI, though, is more like ordering from a menu. The agent says, I need a list with 3 items and a secure payment button.
And the app's kitchen builds it.
Exactly. The host application, your email app, your bank app, whatever, uses its own native components to render that interface safely. And this separation is critical because it keeps the design consistent. The host app stays in control of its look and feel, but the experience can still be dynamic.
And speaking of those integrated experiences, we're seeing this stuff flood into the tools we use every single day. I mean, look at Gmail.
Gmail is a perfect example. Google's rolling out AI tools that used to be behind a pretty expensive paywall.
Right, though the most advanced stuff, like AI overviews and the proofread tool, they're still going to the pro subscribers first.
Sure, but the change to the core experience is huge. They're rolling out a new AI inbox that, automatically suggests to-dos, it groups your updates. The AI is basically becoming your personal assistant.
Sorting the mail for you.
And crucially, they're putting natural language AI overviews right into the inbox search. So you don't have to dig through email threads anymore to find an answer. It's a total rethink of an interface that's been around for decades.
So AI is reshaping the big picture. But I guess human refinement is still happening at the micro level, right? I'm thinking of something like Figma's latest navigation redesign.
That's a great counterpoint. The Figma update is a perfect example of designers focusing on the small friction points for other expert users.
Right.
They've updated the left navigation bar in design, draw, and dev mode to make it much faster to switch between assets and variables. It's a small, functional tweak, but it dramatically speeds up a pro's workflow. It proves that even as AI takes on the big stuff, humans still own those critical details.
Okay, so what about the overall visual language? If AI is generating so much of the experience, what holds it all together? The material we looked at points to a potentially massive shift happening at Microsoft with Edge.
Yeah, Microsoft Edge is testing a UI refresh that completely adopts the design language of its Copilot app. The shapes, the colors, the fonts, everything.
And that's a big deal because it signals they might be moving away from their long-standing system, Fluent Design.
A huge deal. Fluent Design was introduced, back in 2017? It was all about light, depth, motion. It was meant to be this beautiful, consistent experience across Windows, Office, Xbox.
And
now this potential shift to a Copilot-led system, which is, generally simpler, more rounded, and really focused on accessibility for AI chats. It means this AI-driven aesthetic could become the new foundation.
which would create a pretty big problem.
A huge design split. If Edge and Copilot look one way, but Windows and Office still look like Fluent Design, you have two different visual systems inside the same company. It just shows that even when AI generates the interface, it still has to live inside a consistent, human-defined framework.
Okay, this is where things get really fascinating and maybe a little scary for anyone in a creative field. If AI can handle implementation, if it can even set the visual tone, what are designers actually for? This leads us straight to this idea of the 90% problem.
The 90% problem really defines the challenge here. AI tools have made visualization cheap. They let someone who isn't a designer create a mock-up that looks, 90% finished.
Right, and that used to take years of training and expensive software. So if I'm a startup and I need a website fast, why wouldn't I just get an AI to do that 90% and then, I don't know, hire a freelancer for an afternoon to polish the last 10%?
And that is the critical question, because that last 10% isn't just polish, it's strategy, it's the why. A trained designer provides that iterative refinement. They articulate why a design choice solves a user's need, meets a business goal, and works within technical limits. The designer's job is to bridge those three things. The machine gives you options, the human provides judgment.
And if you skip that judgment, you end up with something people are calling AI sludge.
Exactly. AI sludge is what you get from all that cheap generic output. You get homogeneous products with no character, no soul.
So to avoid that, the thinking is that even minimum viable products MVPs have to build in delight and emotional design from day one.
Precisely. Personality isn't a feature you add later anymore. It's a requirement for viability from the start. If you don't build that emotional connection immediately, you just get lost in the sludge, because anyone can copy your features for almost zero cost.
This has to be changing the role of UX research too.
Oh, it's moving way upstream. They aren't becoming obsolete, they're becoming strategic planners.
So what does that look like?
The new role for UX research is defining what a good AI output even is. It's about grounding the AI's prompts and its evaluation criteria in real human needs. They have to translate a vague goal, like make this better, into clear, measurable signals for the AI system.
So they're making sure the AI is solving the right problem before it even starts making screens.
That's it. As execution gets cheap, the real value is in human judgment and sense-making. It's the work you do before a single pixel is placed. That invisible strategic work is what prevents those huge, costly reversals down the line. It's basically project insurance.
And you can see this shift reflected in how big brands are growing. I was fascinated by the point that brands like Uniqlo, Stanley, and even OpenAI are growing through product-led experiences, not old-school ad campaigns.
Yeah, the product itself is the brand now. Its function, its reliability, its usefulness, that's the marketing. It kind of turns decades of conventional marketing on its head. People connect with the utility of the thing itself.
Okay, it's clear that speed and efficiency are everything on the digital side.
Yeah.
But how fast is too fast? There's this one piece of research that says users judge a website's credibility in just 50 milliseconds.
I mean, that's literally the blink of an eye.
It's insane. That kind of speed forces us to look past just function and into the raw psychology of design.
And that split-second decision is all about proven UX patterns that signal safety and professionalism. We're talking about clear navigation, visual consistency, real social proof, security badges, transparent pricing.
And just being fast.
And just being incredibly fast. These things aren't just details, they're psychological signals that lower a user's guard in that first critical moment.
And this need for quick processing is why minimal design is so effective.
Exactly. Minimalism works with our cognitive limits. Our short-term memory is tiny, and we're prone to inattentional blindness. We just don't see things we aren't looking for. Simple design reduces that cognitive load.
So less is more because our brains are just trying to filter out all the noise.
For novice users, it's incredibly effective. But there's a big caveat. Minimal design can really fall short for expert users, who might need a lot more information on screen to do their complex jobs efficiently.
There's actually a perfect historical example of this gone wrong that was highlighted. macOS Tahoe.
Oh man, that was a disaster. The decision to add an icon to every single menu item, I remember when that happened. Suddenly you're hunting for save as, and it's surrounded by all this visual clutter.
Nothing stands out.
Nothing stands out. It completely ignored the fact that adding visuals doesn't automatically make things clearer. A lot of the time, it just adds confusing static.
And as we shift from screens to the physical world, we're seeing this massive comeback for tactility. I mean, the move away from touchscreens in cars, what Volkswagen is doing, bringing back physical buttons, that's being called a huge UX triumph.
Because physical buttons support no-look control, and that's absolutely mission critical in a car. A touchscreen demands your visual attention, which undermines safety. The ability to just reach out and turn a dial for the volume without thinking is just demonstrably better than tapping on a glass screen at 70 miles per hour.
And you see this same tension between pure aesthetics and function in laptop design. You have Apple still pushing for impossible thinness, even after, the whole butterfly keyboard fiasco.
Right, where they prioritized form over function and durability.
And in sharp contrast, you have PC makers like Dell and HP moving in the opposite direction. They're making thicker, more repairable laptops.
It's a totally different philosophy. It values longevity, serviceability, user control over just chasing these fragile aesthetics. It's like the physical world's answer to digital disposability.
And this desire for durable, intentional things seems to be driven hard by younger generations, especially when it comes to homeware.
That really grounds this whole conversation. You have younger people dealing with tight budgets, with hybrid living, with constant uncertainty, and they expect the objects they own to provide some emotional support.
To be an anchor.
To be an anchor, exactly. Homeware has to ground their shifting lives, it has to express their personality, and it has to help them feel in control. They're looking for objects that deliver flawless performance, but also emotional clarity, things that help them resist that generic AI sludge aesthetic.
So when you put it all together, what does it all mean? We've seen this really clear separation emerge between automated efficiency, the stuff AI handles, and strategic human value, that critical 10%. The pressure is now squarely on designers to prioritize that human character, that emotional connection in this ocean of generic digital stuff.
We're really tracking two paths at once. AI is pushing for dynamic, modular, context-aware interfaces. At the same time, physical and trust-based design is retreating to clarity, to tactility, to intentional imperfection like physical buttons and thicker hardware.
Design is becoming either hyper-efficient or deeply, deeply human. There's no in-between. It's a fascinating cycle.
Yeah.
We looked at how the tools we use shape the things we design. Early HTML gave us repeating backgrounds and GIFs because that's what the tools made easy. Modern tools give us reusable templates.
Right.
So with the rise of these declarative UIs and AI that can generate whole layouts, how will this next generation of tools shape a product aesthetic that we can't even imagine yet? If everything is built from these hyper-optimized standard components, does all design eventually just look the same? It's something to think about until the next time we dig into this stuff.
Spoken Tech for your ears.